Good evening and welcome to the June 23rd meeting of the Board of Selectmen. If you'd all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Good evening and welcome for those of you that are tuning in. We do have a public hearing this evening, which is kind of similar to what we did 2 weeks ago. Just as an aside, this will be our last meeting of fiscal year 2020. So we do have some housekeeping to take care of later in the agenda, but we have a public hearing to hear comments relative to the proposed municipal fiscal year 21 budget. Public hearing is being aired on channel 1302, and it is live streaming. So if you're somewhere and you think you want to listen to this, then you certainly can go to either one of those places. I will again remind anybody that during the public hearing, if you'd like to call in, you can call 247-6166 and hit extension 106, and that phone will come directly to the table that Gary is sitting at, and we will take any questions or comments. And it's probably a little late to email any comments or questions, but if anyone has any after this session, you certainly feel free to address that with the board. All right, so the election this year will be on July 14th. Absentee ballots are available now. I think the other day we counted up 6 or 8 ballots, I guess, that you potentially could have. One is the municipal election of officers. Also the approval of the town budget. There is, if you're in the water district, you will get a water district ballot. There is, if you're a registered Democrat or registered Republican, you will get either one of those primary ballots. And I believe there is a referendum question on the state level, right?
And the school, if you did not.
And almost forgot, the most important one is the RSU 57 school budget. That's a 2-page document. There's 3 questions on it. Anyway, you'll have a whole fistful of paper to go through the voting. And again, I will remind everybody at the beginning of this that you can request an absentee ballot, and Deputy Town Clerk Christina will send you one. It has to be back here the day of the election.
Like 8 p.m. day of the election.
Day of the election.
Back to the polls.
You're going to have to get that back to the polls.
Right.
If you don't get it back here.
By 5 the day before.
And of course they relaxed the state law so that you can request an absentee ballot even on election day. Unfortunately, you will have to do that, request an absentee ballot at the poll, because that's where everybody's going to be on election day. So there won't be anybody here that you can run in and get an absentee ballot from. But
You also can come to the town office and vote here if you don't want it mailed, but you can come right into the office and pick one up from Christine and do it while you're here too.
And we will be voting at Massabesic East, which is the east side of the Massabesic complex. We have had numerous votes there. We may work a little different because of social distancing and sanitation efforts and whatnot. We may very well go in the main entrance. I think we're going to schedule to go in the main entrance, and you'll go out a side entrance. And the booths will be sanitized in between and wiped down in between usages, so we will meet that criteria. The first page of the town ballot, there are where the election of officers are. We have the selectmen 3-year term. We're electing 2 to that. We have the selectmen 2-year term. We're electing 1 to that. And we have an RSU 57 Board of Directors position, and we're electing 1 to that. There are 4 candidates for the 3-year term: Dana Brown, Ted Doyle, Michael Provencher, and Dwayne Woodson. There is 1 candidate for the 2-year term, that is David Chevette. And there is 1 candidate for the RSU 57 Board of Directors, and that is Jason Shaw. Somewhere here I've got the Water District. Water District will be the last page of the, or if you're in the Water District, you'll get a separate page. There's 1 position open for a 3-year term. Tim McCoy is the candidate, the only candidate for that. There's a position for a 2-year term, and Matthew Sampson is the only candidate for that. So those are the municipal elections that will be processed. There are a number of articles. I think there's a total of 19. Okay. Those will be broken down as they have in the previous year to buy ultimately departments. We do have a special referendum vote this year, which is going to be Article 1 on the ballot, and that is to fund bonds or approval of bonds or other means to purchase a new ladder truck, general obligation bonds in an amount of about $1 million. There is an explanatory note. We look at using probably $200,000 out of the general fund balance, which is designated as in the rescue billing account, which is available. So we would bond approximately $800,000 beyond that, and that would buy a new ladder truck, not a used one. The current one is 26 years old, thereabouts. And anyway, that is Article 1. Article 2 is another standalone article to purchase approximately 27 acres of land across from the current transfer station. It's 27 acres of land there that is currently owned by the Bennett Hill Housing Association, that we would look towards for future gravel extraction and future use of the town. Part of that is there's also 2 lots up in the north end of town that they are looking to have swapped for that property, along with an additional $100,000 that would be paid over a 10-year period of time. So 27 acres on 1 lot down on Bennett Hill Road across from the transfer station, and then there's 2 lots, wooded lots, that are smaller pieces that are in the north end of town, which buffer Waterboro Sand and Gravel's North Waterboro Quarry. So needless to say, we're working with Waterboro Sand and Gravel and the Bennett Hill Housing Association, all associated with Doug Foglio Sr. and the Foglio organization, to potentially work that swap and the purchase of the additional property on Bennett Hill Road. So those are the first two questions that you'll see on the ballot. Article 3 starts with the revenue. Article 3 talks about general government. That recommendation is for $2.486 million. You'll see that we're approximately $200,000 more than where we were last year, and that is predominantly made up from insurances, workman's comp, those kinds of things that have increased in time. There are no raises built into this budget that we're proposing.
2 new vehicles, 3 new people.
Right. And we are adding people because of the need in the fire department, public works, and whatnot. But we have not recommended any raises to any town employee as a cost of living adjustment. Slight increase in York County taxes. Anyway, there's 10 or 11 articles on this, or items on this article, but the grand total is $2.486 million. Article 4 is for the planning department, which takes into tax assessor, code enforcement, planning board, planning, and zoning board of appeals. That request is for $236,000, which is actually down from last year's appropriation of $267,000. Article 5 is for the library and recreation. Total request is for $414,000, which is down from $430,000. There's also some concern with whether or not some of the recreation programs will be able to run, especially this summer. But if in fact we can pull off everything that we're planning, it's $414,000. 303 of that is the recreation department, and again that's down from 320 that was a year before. Article 6 talks about the transfer station and public works. Transfer station is up a bit to $527,000, which is up from 490-ish in our current budget. Cost of disposing things, the lack of the ability to get rid of recyclables at a profit have all come into play there. I will take a minute though and jump back how many years when we thought that it was going to cost us over $1 million to take care of solid waste in town. When we looked at pay per bag and all that good stuff, and we're still in and around the $500,000 range. So we've been very, very fortunate to be able to provide the services that we do at the transfer station with all of the components that we are able to take there, and still only represent about $500,000 in the budget. Public Works is actually down a bit, $1.4 million from $1.5 million, or actually $20,000 I guess down, but it is down from last year. So the grand total for the Public Works Department, which includes the transfer station and Public Works, is $2.011 million. Article 7 is for equipment, and you'll see the explanation of the equipment that we're trying to purchase, $99,000. That is new to this year's budget. Article 8 is capital improvement plan items, non-public works related for 26.8. There was a recommendation for 56.8. We've knocked that down. The Board of Selectmen knocked that down to 26.8. It includes improvements to the heating, the South Station, partial roof replacement at the South Station, LED lights, and repairs of the chimney in the library. Article 9, in capital improvements for upgrading of roads, it's $131,000. That is what we are recommending. Overall, the capital budget this year is down significantly from where it was last year. And ultimately, we've tried to look at foregoing some of those capital improvements to keep the budget within a reasonable amount, given the times that we're in. So all we're doing is pushing some of these projects off for another year and whatnot. But unfortunately, given the situation that we're in currently, I'm not sure that we can do anything other than that. Fire department, EMS, police services, rescue services are coming in at 1.4 million. That is up a bit from last year's 1.26 million. Again, we are adding bodies this year to the fire department. So we're up a little over $100,000 in the public safety total. EMS is actually down. Roscommon Fire Department is basically down a bit, but really kind of flat. And then we have contract deputies. We have two, which are at $190,000 a year, and that is flat from our current budget.
That 190,000
Right.
is for two contract deputies.
That's right.
Yeah, and two vehicles.
Right, that includes all of their equipment and vehicles. And that's paid to York County Sheriff's, well, York County itself, but York County Sheriff's Office. Article 11 is raising funds for miscellaneous committees, including Old Home Days and certain agencies. 73,000 is what we are requesting, 73.6, which is down from the 91.1 that was requested and approved last year. So that is page 3.
This will include not this year's fireworks, but there's money enough in that Old Home Days money to get the fireworks back on the table for next year, as long as this corona clears out.
Yeah, let's hope that next year we're talking about a different situation, but time will tell. Article 12 is Article 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16, and 17, and 18 are typical articles that we run every year at town meeting or town referendum. 12 is to see if we will allow state revenues from registration fees derived from the registration of snowmobiles to be placed in a separate account for the maintenance of fire roads, to be spent under the direction of the fire chief, the public works director, and a representative from the snowmobile club. That's an annual question that we have. We have 13 and 14 deal with how much money we can charge on unpaid taxes. It's currently at 8% per year, and that is set by the state. And Article 14 is what we have to pay if we over-collect your taxes, what we owe you in interest going back to you. Both are set at 8% per state law. In accordance with state law, we have to have your permission, the voters' permission, to authorize the tax collector treasurer to accept prepayments of taxes not yet committed. So if you want to prepay your taxes for a year ahead and we have not committed the tax rate, you have the right to do that through state law and with the permission of the voters of the town. We also have an article that we've now run multiple years. It deals with if there is a public emergency where the ambulance, fire, someone has to get to a building or a person and the road is impassable because of ice, snow, or whatever. This allows the fire chief to work with the public works director to remove or sand those roads so that we can, in effect, accomplish the resolving that emergency. And it may or may not be a public road. So this allows us to spend public money on a private road in the case of an emergency, and that can be done with the fire chief and the public works director working together. Article 17 is to accept the reports of the town offices. Article 18 is to vote, authorize the municipal offices to accept gifts to the municipality and expend the same to make application to execute any documents required for various grants. So that gives us, the voters give us the authority to solicit grants, once we solicit and we receive that, then we have permission to expend it. Article 19 is a kind of a list of different departments or line items in the current budget that we want to carry forward if it is not all spent. And that is Article 19, which would be the last article that you'll vote on. And it carries things like the money that's set up in the emergency fund for municipal buildings, health and sanitation, some of the stuff that we have at the transfer station that will roll over into the current year. Public Works, general assistance, capital improvements, any of those items that require to be carried forward. And then ultimately, there's just a last statement on the warrant is one that encompasses the monies that will be derived out of miscellaneous department revenues, excise taxes, rescue billing accounts, cable TV franchises, DOT grants, and all of that will be applied to the annual municipal budget. That number is $3.636 million. The balance would be made up from either, the balance would be made up from taxes. So we will look at using undesignated funding and whatnot and everything else as the kind of the shock absorber of when we set the tax rate. And we probably will set the tax rate as late as possible this year, only because we really don't know some of the answers which will come out of the state revenue sharing. There's a budget for it, and there's an expectation of what we're going to get, but we don't know when they call the legislature back together how much of that stuff they're going to shut off and whatnot. So, but if anybody has any questions, comments, feel free to reach out to any of us at any time between now and the 14th. If you want to vote absentee, you can request through Christine an absentee ballot. You can come into the office and request an absentee ballot. You can vote here. We have a voting booth set up. You can vote here and then seal it and give it back to Christine, and she will hold that like any of the ones that are being mailed in. And you can vote absentee ballot right up through the election night at 8 o'clock. If it's not turned in before 8 o'clock, it will not be counted. So, in this year, we're allowed, did they change the law, Gary? Or we can now start to count absentee ballots prior to the physical election, right? Or the day of election.
We used to be able to do them on the weekend before. I think we had to announce that and open the building in case somebody wanted to watch.
Right. Yeah. So,
This year, we're gonna be able to start on Thursday, is what I thought Christine said.
yeah, I think that's, I think they can start earlier.
Counting them.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
She can run them through the machine. The machine won't be open.
Right.
It's sealed and secured, but they
And I
can
think-
start opening the envelopes and running those through, I think, on Thursday.
Yeah, and I think Bob has to be present, right?
Probably.
As the warden, the voting warden. Okay, so that is the quick overview of where we stand with the vote.
Which hopefully speeds the process up at the end of the night.
We do have, like I said, this state referendum, there's 2 bond questions. If you are a registered Democrat or Republican, you get the Democrat or Republican primary election votes and the RSU 57 vote. So if you are physically voting, it will take you probably more than a few minutes to complete everything. Okay, so we'll declare this meeting closed, and we will move on to the rest of the agenda. And again, if anybody has anything, any one of us or Gary are more than happy to answer questions or take your comments. Any announcements from the board?
Yes, sir. None tonight.
Gordon, anything?
No, Mr. Chairman, nothing.
Okay. We do certainly offer our sympathies to a longtime lion in this community and has done many, many things for the community. John Champion passed recently. Again, we express our condolences to
Boy
the
Scout
family.
leader for
Right,
30 years.
Boy Scout leader. He certainly will be missed. Okay, additions and deletions to the agenda. I think we're all set. We've got everything on there that we need to talk about. We have no appointments tonight. We have all staff here, so there's really no public comment. Correspondence, we do have treasurer's reports. If anybody's interested, you can also pick those up off from the town's website. Selectmen's report. Wayne, anything?
Nothing.
Ted?
No, sir.
Gordon, do you have anything? Gordon is, by the way, sorry I didn't announce this earlier. He's joining us via Zoom tonight, but anything, Gordon?
No, thank you, ground control. I'm just tuning in from the NASA station base. So I'm looking down at everything, and everything looks good so far.
Okay. And I don't have anything, although we did have the annual meeting of Eco Maine, and I think since we kind of have resolved our issue with tires, right? So that'll take care of that. On the new business, discuss vote to renew the state malt, vinous, and spirituous liquor license for the fraternal order. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I miss you, Gary? All right, I'll back up. The town administrator's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You covered the election thing, so I won't be redundant in those comments. I'll just be particular in letting the public know that absentee voting in person at Town Hall ends 5 o'clock on Monday the 13th. Normally that's the Thursday before, but the day before the election, you can still come into Town Hall and either vote in person or get that ballot and take it home. Requests, either telephone or online, for absentee ballots ends 5 o'clock on July 9th. And all ballots must be returned to the polls by 8 o'clock July 14th. And as Dwayne said, on election day, you have to bring that absentee ballot to the polls. We're just about 450 absentee ballot requests as of this afternoon. So they're still coming in steady, and that's very, very good. There are still some people that are not aware that Town Hall is open. So I want to make that announcement. We opened on Wednesday, June 10th, per the Selectmen's direction. No more appointments are necessary. We ask that the line be kept outdoors, and people have been very good with that. Pretty much manages itself much of the time right now. And Laura and I are working to keep that in line, and others as necessary. And assessing and code enforcement officer and code enforcement office customers can come in the building at any time. Both David and Josh are here tonight. I'll just make a couple of brief comments that the South Waterboro sidewalk project paving is done. Town staff is going to do the final loaming and seeding. And we have a couple of drainage projects that are long overdue, one at Chadbourne Ridge and Lord's Lane. Hope to start that next week, followed by Partridge Lane afterwards, and each of those will take plus or minus a week on site. And I guess I would defer to David for any other paving updates, and for Josh, I guess Josh has got an update on the oil and the antifreeze collection building project, so. Alderman?
We've completed our paving for the year. We paved the section that we rebuilt on Blueberry Road, and then they shimmed from that section all the way to West Road. We put the finished pavement. They repaired the bad spots on Strawmill Brook, and we put the finished pavement on that with a small section of Ospey Hill that was really bad. And we did a shim on Silas Brown, and we've just completed quite a section of the middle road. We started just before the multi-dwelling complex, Star King's Place. We replaced our cross culvert there, and we started shimming from there back towards the west road. We made it just past the pole line, and after the new budget, we'll complete that and go on to do other paving projects. Today we did a joint effort between the Public Works and Josh, and we got the old used oil tank. Building is gone. The old tank is gone. We've installed a new containment area today, and we're going to pour the concrete for the new building that Josh can tell you about. It's a 10 by 20 prefab building that we're purchasing, and we're going to set that on this concrete pad when it comes in.
Be delivered July 9th. It'll be delivered and installed.
So we have the tanks.
Everything's in, all the prep work is done. We're just gotta pour concrete, and once the building is delivered,
We'll
we're
be
complete.
pouring the concrete on Friday. They're going to pour the concrete for that, and the old salt shed, we're going to put a new concrete floor in that because we've put a new garage door in, and we cut through the wall for a new walk-through door for that area. So once the new concrete is on the floor, then we'll be able to put just about everything we have for equipment in there in the winter time, and keeping it out of the weather.
Thought that maybe since they were gonna be up there doing that, it would be worth it to have them throw a few extra yards on and make a day of it, and just do both jobs.
Okay.
Yep.
Sounds logical.
We have a local concrete, Evan Dolbeck is doing the concrete work for us, so that's working out well. Foglio is crushing the 4-inch gravel right now for this year's budget, and sometime near the 4th of July week, he will be back to do next year's crushing, so that we have a good supply for projects. We have 2 drainage projects that have been set aside to do other things that we thought were a little more important, and we're going to be doing those next week, so to get some drainage issues taken care of on the intersection of Chapman's Ridge Road and Lord's Road, and over off in Beaver Ridge. There's a couple of drainage catch basin that we have to put in, and we put one in on yesterday, over on Oak Lane off Old Alfred Road for an area that's been a problem for a house for a long time, so we're hoping that's gonna take care of that.
The one in front of that yellow house?
Yes, David Stevenson. Yep. His
Okay.
driveway is always flooded. There are no ditches on that side of the street. And so we dug a 6 foot deep. We dug down to the water table and we put lots of crushed stone and a bottomless square catch basin with a top, and hopefully that'll take care of this problem.
Okay,
Yesterday, we installed a new cable on the trash truck. Friday afternoon, we had a breakdown. The cable snapped. That truck has a 75,000 pound winch on it. And the cams down back on the dirt, if they don't sit level, when you back up to the can, the sliders of the truck don't sit under the can, but if you hook onto the winch and winch it a little ways, it'll pick the can up enough to get the truck under it. Well, that didn't happen, and we snapped the cable, so we were down the trash truck over the weekend. Monday morning, I called all over the state looking for a cable for the truck. The closest one I could find was in New Jersey. It was a little under $1,000 shipping and handling. So I called around some more, and I found a company that would custom make us one. I took a ride Monday morning, got the cable, spent the rest of the day, me and the truck driver Terry, installing it. We got the job done for under $500.
Good.
And it works great. So,
How close are they?
no.
Nice.
And I would like to, if I may, order a second one to have on hand,
it's up to you guys.
under half the price of a,
You don't need our permission to do that.
We want to know who that vendor is, and get them in the system here.
Okay, anything else, Gary?
One other thing that I just wanted to, since the board has a colored survey plat in front of them for you to take home, just to understand what's going on here. In 2010, we had a deed mix-up, Friendship Park, and the survey in front of you, the bright green or yellow, whatever your eyes tell you, parcel was transferred to the land trust. It should have been the orange parcel. So the land trust attorney and our attorney are trying to work out maybe one quick claim deed and one warranty deed to undo what was done then, undo the conservation easements, and end up with the orange parcel to be owned by the land trust, and both of the yellow/green ones back to the town. The other two subdivisions there are irrelevant to this problem. I just did that because Charlie Brown did that and the work that he did for us. So stay tuned. It's taken a whole lot longer than we thought because conservation easements are in perpetuity, and there has to be kind of a mistake approach from the attorneys on both sides for a corrective deed and not just a simple transaction. So I'd like to think that 2 weeks from today we'll have this buttoned up. I can't make that promise tonight.
Okay. Yeah, it'd be nice to close it out before we
Yes.
have a potentially different board. So, not that that matters, but, it's been hanging long enough, so let's get it done.
You have some other comments from me on the end of your update, but I'll wait till we get to item 10A for tonight.
Okay? All right. I'm now going to jump to 9A. New business, discuss the vote to renew the state malt vinous spirituous liquor license for the Fraternal Order of Eagles located at 1050 Main Street. Both the code officer and fire, I guess, is Mike officially fire marshal, or is he?
Yes.
Okay. They've inspected the property and recommend approval, and also we've got feedback from York County Sheriff's Deputy Dwayne Fay, who works for the town, and he has no issues at the location for the last year. So what is your pleasure?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
License.
And moved and seconded to approve the renewal of the state malt, vinous, and spirituous liquor license for the Fraternal Order of Eagles. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Gordon? Okay, got you. 4-0.
And maybe where God is right now.
Yeah, we don't know where he is. All right, discuss the...
Not saying anything.
Discuss vote to remove the bad debt. Did you see that email that I fired off to you at 5 o'clock?
Sorry.
You know, the list here is, you know, and I understand your request is there are over multiple years, from 2005 to 2018, there's been 54 checks that have bounced, basically. And this would just write them off as bad debt. My only question was, can we sort this by year so that if
Yes,
we
you can.
decided to write them off certain years, then we could do that, but given the fact that we're really talking about $10,000 in the bank fees, so you're $111,109.70, and the oldest one is 2005, and the most recent one is 2018, which is now 2 years ago. I guess sooner or later, we're gonna have to write it off.
Well, my question on that whole thing is, what's gonna happen if we turn all of these over to a collection agent? They're gonna want 40-50%, but we ain't gonna lose it all.
They get more than that because of this state, but Matt, can you tell me what the agency gets, because you folks...
Thomas?
Yeah,
I don't know off the top of my head, it's up there.
yeah.
It was around 40%.
It sounds close.
Yeah, but
We've never turned it over to a collection agency?
When I first came aboard in 2005, they were using the sheriff's department to go after them. And that has stopped back in 2013. And I've been actively, in the last couple of years, finding more ways to go after them. If it's for a registration of a vehicle, I can turn over to the Maine Department of Transportation, and they send them a letter and they pull their driver's license till it's paid. We don't get the money back, but it kept giving a credit to us.
So these could be for any, if it's a bad check for taxes, so there's no taxes in this?
There's one from a long time ago that I can remember right off.
Because usually we would just lien it, right?
Right, right.
The tax property.
There's veterinary bills that we had, somebody's animal, and they were told that they'd be paid, and they never bothered. The stack of them is probably close to 10 inches high with the documentation attached. And now I send registered and certified letters and regular letters to the people. And the girls out front are also flagging if we have current addresses, so if they get somebody in, they see it.
Well, I can't imagine how we could go back any collection agency and handle stuff that's 3, 4, 5 years old. Let alone, it goes back to 2005, which is 15
well,
years.
I think the law is 7 years.
So that takes you back to 2003, 2013.
So the 07 should be out of that.
Yeah, so you take a bunch of them out, so. I understand that, the auditor would love to see us write this off and get it done, right? So we would.
Yeah, and the girls would like to see them out of the vault. But whatever your wishes are, I can do it by the years. You could give me a time frame of the years and I can text you all the dollar amount.
If we vote on it and write them off in this fiscal year, I just don't imagine that we're gonna collect any of them, to be perfectly honest with you.
Most of them I've contacted at least 3 times if I still have phone numbers.
And I assume we've already paid the bank fees. So
The bank,
the bank, so far this has cost us $1,000, $1,060, right?
divided in half. We get a $10 the bank fee
Okay.
for the office
So-
here.
So if you look at what is out of our pocket right now, in bank fees alone, it's $530, right?
Yes,
We provided a service somewhere along the line, whether it was for something. And they gave us a bad check, basically. Some of them are up over $1,000, but it's also 11 years ago. I don't see us collecting that.
Probably half of them are gone out of town.
Yeah, I mean,
I see about 4 here that I recognize the name.
and there's a couple deceased ones on
I
it too.
just, I just think
Yeah,
that
it's gonna be my question is, how many have deceased?
probably better off to just write them off. I mean, sooner or later you have to write off bad debts, right? And it's not gonna be like, it's money that's owed to us, but
Well, it's a
Like we
services, and that's why
the
the,
likelihood of collecting it is, and we can't lien it because it's not property. So, whatever. What's your
Well,
opinion?
the question, it's not property tax, but how many of these are building permits or occupancy permits or something like that? Because that,
Yeah, and we can put,
I would believe that can be leaned.
okay. Well, how about, I know we'd like to write this off, but let's sort them by year, because some of them we're just gonna forget about, right? But I think Dwayne does bring up a good point. If it's an occupancy permit
Yeah.
or a building permit, first of all, I wouldn't think that they would have got an occupancy permit if in fact they sent us a check,
Right.
didn't make it.
Yeah.
So maybe we just, if you have
But
that
it could be a
information.
plumbing permit or, if anything is code enforcement related.
Depending on the year too, when this happened, there might be a new owner of that property.
Right.
But the other thing
Go
is,
back about 5 years and everything after that, just write it off now and then do what we can with the
I think
rest
that's
of
what
it.
I think I don't know what the number is, if you went back, call it 7 years, right? And said anything from 2014 forward,
Yeah.
we would consider chasing a little bit. The rest of it, I think we just get rid of.
Can we get to those categories easily, is it, they did react?
I have to go back and that before I started literally looking at these to see what they were for, because we had.
Well, I wouldn't waste any time from anything that's more than 6 years old.
Okay.
Take the ones from 2015 forward, let's identify those. We'll write off everything older than that, or at least put that to a vote.
I don't have a problem voting on that tonight, and that throws that out of the ballpark.
That's fine with me, if that's what you want to do.
Because you're only gonna go back 7 years, and by the time somebody, even if we hired somebody to chase it,
Yeah.
the 7 years is gonna be up, so.
So you want to make that as a motion? Write off everything that's 2013 and older?
Yeah.
I'll second that.
We don't know quite what that number is, but it's a part of this $11,000, right? So, any further discussion? All those in favor?
The biggest one on there is.
I'm sorry, did you say something, Gordon?
No,
Okay.
The biggest one on here is at 1170, and that's from 2009.
Yeah.
Gone anyways.
So, all those in favor? Gordon?
4-0.
All right, so everything 2013 and older, get rid of, and then just come back to us with the 14s and newer, and
Yep.
it's only gonna be 4 years, because there's nothing in 19 or 20.
I wouldn't
Maybe
make that a
people-
priority.
No, because you've got quite a mix, and I also going to be out because of surgery, so, yeah.
That's why I'm saying this, I wouldn't make this anything, you know, a month or two ain't gonna hurt a thing here, so.
Right.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay? Let's talk about new business item C, discuss a vote on committee appointments with terms to expire June 30th. There wasn't a lot of them, right?
2023.
Well, I think they'll that's when they would, the new appointment would expire then, right?
Yes.
Are there any that we really need to deal with here rather than, I mean, granted, the year is ending, but we're all gonna stay in office until at least 3 weeks from now, right? The 14th, or 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now.
I guess the most important one would be planning board. If Lori's up as of June 30th, we would want her to be able.
So those would be, yeah, I mean, the rest of it, I mean, I don't have a problem with reappointing all of them, because they're 3-year terms, right? So you got the assessing board of review, budget committee, garden committee, community garden rather, conservation committee, library board of trustees, old home days, road review, transfer station. Those are all 3-year appointments. I'm okay with doing it now, if that's what you want to do.
There's no reason to wait. I mean, that's why we prepared this.
So, you want to make a motion on the 3-year terms?
I make a motion to approve those.
Okay, we have a second.
Second.
All those in favor? Gordon? I know you're in the South Pacific now, but, okay. 5-year appointments. We get the planning board, Laurie Anthony, the zoning board of appeals, Clayson, code enforcement, and staff appointments. Let's do the 5 years. There's 2 5-year terms. Planning board and
I'll make a
ZBA.
motion to appoint Lori to the planning board and Kurt to the zoning board of appeals for a total of a 5-year appointment.
With a second.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
4-0.
Staff appointments with terms to expire June 20, 2021. Code enforcement officer, deputy code enforcement officer, deputy code enforcement officer. So Charette, Alea, Gilpatrick. Licensed plumbing inspectors, the same 3. So I would take a motion to appoint CEOs, deputy CEOs, licensed plumbing inspector, and deputy licensed plumbing inspector.
So moved.
second,
Okay, thank you, Gordon. Any
welcome.
discussion? All those in favor? 4-0. All right. Anything else on the new business? Let's jump to old business. Let's talk about budget.
I have a request from the water district, new old business.
Yeah,
We would like to see if we could open discussions for a new well
Okay.
on town property again.
so is that something that we could do at our next meeting?
Yes.
All right, I'll take that under advisement for next meeting's agendas.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, discussion on year-end balances. I think that we have 2 issues, right, Gary?
Brand new reports before you that Julie did today. The issues are in assessing, which we knew was going to be over, and on the first page would be under insurances.
And assessing is over because we have the map issues, right?
Right, we spent the better part of $25,000 with a total upgrade. We're getting rid of CAD maps. We're actually gonna have paper maps here, but they'll be digital. The town was all digitized, and all that information will be reflected on the website. The contractor said he'll have it done by the end of July, including the changes up to this most recent April, which is what's delayed it another month. But
Okay.
when I had that opportunity to do all that, because Shirley got the building permits done, I jumped at it, and that's why it's over that much.
All right, so the insurance is over by what happened to that?
Almost 7,300.
7,300, so that can be, we can take out of general government, right? We have 14,000 in legal account, right?
Yes,
In and of itself, but I would just say, so within to cover that shortage, we would transfer money from general government account to cover the 7,300 over spend in the assessing account, right? And assessing is done for the, there's not gonna be another warrant issued on assessing?
just your accruals. Her bill has been paid this week.
Right, okay.
We got her final.
All right, so it is what it is, right? That's the number.
Yes.
So if someone would move to transfer money out of the general government account to cover the overspend in the assessing town map account.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Total of 73
73 and change, right?
and change, yeah.
Okay, all those in favor? Opposed?
4-0.
Okay. The other one is the insurance. No, that's the one we just did, right?
We just did
Yeah.
insurance.
But you were calling it assessing.
I'm
yeah.
sorry, I apologize for that. It was the insurance account that was over by 73.
Yeah, right.
That's the one that we took care of. Assessing is now over by 17,000. And 18, most of that was out of the tax maps. It's not out of what we paid, well, $314 of it. No, none of it was out of
That's true.
the Shirley's wages, right?
Wage.
Right.
Yes.
It's all the maps. So, let me ask you, I guess, we take abatements out of the overlay. Why wouldn't we, because it's assessment related, why couldn't we pull this out of the overlay?
But we don't budget anything for the overlay.
I was gonna say, you got no money in
No,
it.
but it's in, you have it listed here, right, overlay?
Yeah, 49.
And there's no money in there that,
Well, there is, there's several $100,000 that we put into, or 100,000 plus, that we put in when we did the tax commitment,
oh,
right?
So you want to take that negative and make this a bigger negative?
Yeah, but it's gonna be covered by,
Yes, but that's just what I'm,
it's being covered by the overlay.
yes, gotcha.
Can we do that? I guess that's a question.
I would think it'd be cleaner to do it out of the existing account that hasn't spent all its money.
Yeah, but the thing that you don't see on this expense account is what we put into the tax commitment for overlay.
Right. But as you said, it's not in the expense budget.
Right. But neither are abatements, and we take them out of the overlay. And where this is assessing oriented, I would just think that we would take it out of the overlay.
You can do that if you want. You've also got within the budget, under municipal buildings, I offered that to you there, that emergency repair of 20 grand we haven't touched. So,
You know, we were gonna carry that forward.
Right.
Right.
yep.
So I mean, if it's cleaner to do it, taking it out of, I mean, there's 46,000 left in municipal buildings, we could take it certainly out of that. Right? When you
Yep.
add up everything in the municipal buildings,
Have to get a couple lines in there.
Right. so,
It'd be a lot easier doing the journal entries if it did go to overlay to be on the aspects of it. And then the auditors take care of it at the year end.
I don't
What's
have a
your
problem
call?
with it.
I don't have a problem with it, doing it that way,
Huh? Can I have a motion to that effect?
okay? You wanna move to take the 17,000, negative 17,706 out of overlay, which is item 49 on page 4, right? And that number's now gonna go from $20,900 to 38,000 something or other.
Right.
But the overlay doesn't show on this report because that's added to the tax commitment.
Right.
And I think there's plenty there to utilize that, right? Usually, all that overlay is gonna do is go into the general fund if we don't utilize it, right?
Right.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you.
I was trying to find it somewhere else, but it's.
Yeah, well, you could take it out of municipal buildings,
Yeah.
but,
But you may need that next year.
well, that's the way I look at it. And other than that, I think everything is within departments can be balanced out here, right?
Revenues were doing good.
The only question was on 82, you got rescue billing as the $20,000 expense. And I
That's
don't
that
know.
check that gets moved around.
Okay, so that's moved into,
Yes,
up to the EMS.
yes.
Okay,
And just for a quick notice on quick calculations, I mean, I don't have a tape to double check it. If I move everything out by to 2013, that brings that to about $5,200 with a balance. of
We're back
52.
talking about
oh,
the
okay,
bad tax.
on the,
That's bad
on
debt.
the bad debt.
Yes.
All right. So half
I
of it,
guess,
basically.
maybe we ought to reconsider it, because is it worth her time? I mean, we're talking
To get another
$5,000,
$5,000.
we're gonna spend half of that trying to collect it, and is it worth it? And we're talking pennies here compared to our budget, so,
Well, somebody could move to reconsider the vote on 9B. You'd have to have voted in the affirmative, so that any one of the four of us could do that, to reconsider.
I would ask that the board reconsider, what was it, Article 9B
Yep, the vote on 9B.
on the bad debt.
I'm the one that made the motion, so let me correct my motion to say that we just write it all off. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, but we need to reconsider the vote, just
Yeah,
so that for the
reconsider it
record.
first.
Okay.
Okay, so you want to second his reconsider?
Yes.
Because you voted in favor of it.
Yes.
So, Gordon, are you okay with us reconsidering item 9B, which is the remove the bad debt?
He's up.
He raised his hand.
Yeah.
Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? All right, so let's go back to 9B. I would take a new motion to write off the whole thing.
So moved.
You want to second
I
that?
will second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Just a comment that
Yep.
it ain't worth chasing,
I agree.
you know, we're talking.
We're back on 9B for discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see us develop a plan It's where we identify this bad debt well before 6, 7 years have passed. Because I think that it's unfair to the taxpayer to subsidize people that have poor bookkeeping skills and send us bad checks. And it doesn't reflect very well on us if we have all this bad debt. Because this is the second time we've dealt with this, I think, in this term of, well, before we sent it to a collection agency. I think we ought to have a way to identify this much quicker, and then either charge them with negotiating a worthless instrument, take them to court, and or go for initiate proceedings to collect that bad debt sooner than 6, 7 years.
Well, I think, according to your point, that we have other things now in place because we haven't had a bad check that we've had to write off or consider writing off since 2018. So whatever provisions we've made to rectify bad check issues, right, seem to have worked, at least for the past 2 years. So
I'm just wondering why this is raising its head now.
I think it's just a matter of it's stuff that's got to be cleared out. So,
If I may,
yeah,
the auditors had asked about it prior years, but they didn't feel it was worth doing what we're doing.
so if something that comes up in the audit, and before the end of the year, I think that's Julie's point is that's why she's asking for this to be done now, so it will clear it for the next audit period, which will start in August. But I think
I don't think businesses wait for an audit every year. I mean, when they're notified that they have somebody's given them a bad check.
no, I'm not saying that. What the auditors are saying is that we have historically kept this bad debt on our books, and they're just saying that it should be written off, but they haven't pushed it that much because it's only $11,000 basically, right? I mean, it's not significant in the grand scheme of things. But to your point is that I think that whatever provisions we put in place now to correct bad checks has effectively worked, because there's been none since the 2018, the last check in 2018. So, but I would agree, we can't wait 15 years to write off bad debt. It should be something that we bring to the taxpayer or to the board sooner than that, but. Okay?
Yep, fine, thank you.
Right. So I will call for the vote. All those in favor of writing off the, well, it's not quite 11, it's $500 less than that, right?
$11,109.70.
Right. All those in favor? Opposed? All right, 4-0.
Thank you.
All right, let's jump back to 10A. The other part of this was including year-end expenses. I think we're all set there. The other discussion that we've kind of carried on for a couple of weeks has been, several months now, hazardous pay. Certainly one of the requests was, what are other municipalities doing? And when you look at the information that has been provided to us tonight here from, it would appear to me that the only municipal government in York County is South Berwick, and they've offered a $500 stipend to their police officers and police administration. They did not do anything with their fire department.
All volunteer fire department.
Right. But there's no other municipality in York County that we've contacted anyway that has done anything with hazardous pay. And again, I guess I'll go back to, you know, we recorded what everybody has been paid. We know what jobs everybody was doing. And I guess if the state comes through and says, hey, what kind of impact have you had that federal funds, the state funds can back up, similar to like FEMA, then we can provide that number, but I don't know as we want to be a trendsetter here, do we?
We think we're gonna get the money back for the additional per diem staff we added on, two people 24/7 for 6 weeks, 7 weeks?
I think it was 7 weeks.
But that was above and beyond, those
Right.
were new bodies in place to,
They're primarily handling any of the COVID responses.
Right.
We don't expect to get back time for COVID payments when people were being paid but not working a full 40 hours in any town.
It would be qualified under the reimbursement.
Right.
The reimbursement from FEMA is for protective measures that were put in place to deal with any consumable supplies or PPE that was required for the
So
response. And
it's not like we have a bucket full of money that we can say, okay, let's go do this with. We haven't been compensated for anything from the state. I don't think we're in a position to, unless we know that we're gonna get reimbursed from the feds or the state. I'm not sure that we can start to tee something up.
I thought when we initially talked about this, we weren't going to talk any kind of numbers at all until we got a number from the state or the federal.
Yeah, and I don't see that's coming anytime soon. I think
We still have the figures from the people.
right.
And
Yeah, I mean, we got a record of that. That will always, I mean, once somebody says, okay, what were the costs associated with, you know,
there'll be any of the additional protective measures are reimbursable, and then a percentage thereof of any administrative cost, a piece of it is reimbursable, you can submit.
right.
And again, with PPE or anything we purchase for it, we can submit that stuff as well.
So there's $1.3 billion that's been received in the state from the federal government that has not been dispersed to any municipality at this point.
This reimbursement is not going to that pile.
Okay.
That's not where we submit to the RPA. And there was a conversation back early on with Art Cleaves that if we had a policy and there was, and I think I conveyed this before, was that it wasn't a guarantee
Right.
of any of it. But if we had a policy in place, which we did draft the document, which one included our increase of staffing that we will attach to our RPA or request for public assistance. We did that. And the language in there would have to be the same as that we would do the, if there was anything additional for compensation for the response of. And that's what I would, call it whatever you want, I guess. But, and then we've also sent in our local disaster document, which I'm not sure if it's actually what the date of ours is. That may impact us too, because we took us several weeks to get that voted on. So by the time we actually submit it, we may have several weeks that we're not.
But it was in March, I think, the end of March when we voted on that.
April something, wasn't it?
I thought it was April,
Well, it had to have been the first part of April. Then.
maybe. Speaking of which, since we got the chief here, what are your thoughts on, when do we retire that? When should the board retire that?
At this point, I believe that you could retire it at any point, in my opinion.
But it ran with, the language in it ran with the state of, the governor's declared emergency,
I
right?
guess we can change our minds as much as she changes hers.
Well, I understand that. She's got a new group of folks that are upset with her this week, but all the bar owners, but anyway.
I would say that you've returned to somewhat normalcy, if you will. You've reopened town hall and operating as is, and are we able to sustain what we have and operate okay? Then maybe we move forward. If we need to reevaluate, we can do that.
Yeah, I would pull it back out and see if it's something that we want to bring back up at the next meeting to just kill it, basically. It was nothing more than a, what do you call it?
The one page.
It's a resolution, right?
Yeah, we can update that, but, and then if maybe we can reevaluate it and re-vote on it.
Right. So what do we want to do with hazardous thing?
The trouble is,
how long is it gonna last, or how long is she gonna hold hospital?
Well, we know that she's extended the emergency, the state emergency order is through July,
10th now.
yeah, 10th, right. I think until all the dust settles here, we've got some information from other county municipalities, which says that nobody's really doing anything.
That was surprising.
Yeah, I wish,
Didn't expect that.
especially with some of the larger municipalities, I would have thought that something was there, but where do they get the money from? That's really the bottom line.
The only two state organizations or departments that I've found that got any hazard pay was the Turnpike and DEP when they was in visiting homes. Other than that, nobody's seen any.
Unless somebody wants to do something, I would just say we kind of hold this in abeyance, and
Okay.
if something changes, then, we know what everybody worked, we know what,
There's too many dust storms still coming.
yeah, I agree, I think
What's
that
going
this,
on?
I
We
think
have
there's
the
gonna be.
information, just keep it, and
Yeah.
kind of like you just said a minute ago, reassess. And I personally think that after July 10th comes, that state of emergency is going to be pushed out further.
Oh, yeah,
So
there's no doubt in my mind, there's gonna be, it's pushed as long as there's potential opportunity to get federal funds. That would be my guess.
Okay. Anything else from you?
All right. Okay, discuss vote to approve the minutes of June 9th, regular meeting.
So moved.
second,
All those in favor? Opposed? And discuss and vote to approve the minutes of the special June 15th meeting that we were here for 5 minutes.
So moved.
Voting on
I'll second that one also.
school warrants, right?
Yes.
All those in favor? Opposed? And abstention on,
Gordon, we'll mark this vote at 301 because you were not in the meeting that night. Is that okay?
I don't know that he heard you.
I don't know that he can from where I'm sitting.
good, so we put it on the 5th, on the special June 15th meeting. Gordon, you weren't here, so we're marking you down as abstention, right, or, okay?
That's the night I couldn't log on. It was a-
Well, that, you will blame that on David, then.
If you was 2 minutes late, you would have logged on anyway.
Yeah, if it
It didn't take long.
If it took you more than 2 minutes to log on, the meeting was
It
over.
was a very quick meeting.
All right, anything else? Talk about, discussion on agenda items. You want to re-enter discussion with the water district?
Yes.
And this is a well site, or whatever happened to the water tower site?
Well, that disappeared when that was voted down, the town getting that piece of property.
Well, you can still put it on the Bennett Hill property. Right, that was the talk, was going up Bennett Hill Road and
Yeah.
originally, but
Yeah.
anyway.
Well, if we could get this well that we're talking about, then the new tank could be put off a few more years.
But it doesn't increase your capacity, correct?
Pardon?
But that wouldn't increase your tank capacity at all.
No. Well, it would increase,
Well-
we're losing another well. We have another well that's failing. And so we need to pick up, and there are two pieces of property. And one of them is here, and one of them is on Jimmy Carl's property.
Okay.
And,
All right, so we won't get into the detail tonight, but you want a workshop?
I would like a workshop, and I'll bring in some of my guys and
Let's get together and create a memo and
Okay.
some type of a timeline of what's happened and
Yep.
give that to them at the end of next week.
Right. Okay? Anything else?
Friendship Park update for agenda item, we'll keep that on the agenda and
Yes.
hopes that we
Hopefully
close
we
that
can
out.
sign deeds.
That would be nice. Anything else from the board on election-related things for, remember we're meeting 2 weeks from tonight, so we're meeting the week before and the week after the election, so. Christine doesn't have anything new to report tonight, and I don't either, so.
We're all set with,
Do you have anything?
we're all set with the folks, you said the Parks and Rec folks are gonna clean and sanitize and stuff during the day.
Did you have anything? Next meeting? Yes, and if you read the recommendations today, it would just drive you to jump out a window, because they had the body mass index recommendation of you shouldn't be at the polls if you had a BMI over a certain level. You don't
They
reuse,
shouldn't be working at it.
you don't reuse pens,
That
so,
was my,
But you know, we can go buy
but you can
buy
sanitize.
1,000 pins for
So
250.
it's kind of a contradiction, so it's all minor stuff, we'll get through it. We had a staff training today.
the question pencils, the short pencils, and hold them in the alcohol for a few minutes and dry them off. I don't know.
I think that machine reads pencil lead, so.
We used to have boxes of
They
them
used to be
around.
box, I mean, that's what they used to use. and-
Ted says go to a few insurance companies and the banks and get them to
Or the
donate.
golf course, yeah.
Donate pens, then
Donate pens.
let's have free advertising for people, take, mark
You
it
can
out.
buy 1,000 of these for
Give them a
They're
sticker,
expensive.
$250.
give them a
25
sticker and a
cents a
pen,
piece.
have a nice day, thanks for voting.
Please take your pen with you.
Well, we're having the rec staff wipe down after each person,
Good.
The voting booth.
the voting booth.
But the pen's are gonna have to come back and get cleaned somewhere else, and then you get a new pen every time you go, so we'll do that. There was training this morning for voting election poll workers. There'll be another one next week for a different crew.
So if the person giving out the ballots gives you the pin, then, right? And requests that you put the pin in a container when you put your ballots into the voting machine, right?
Got a box. of
Then there's not somebody going to a voting booth and saying, well, where's the pin, right? Because they should have it.
That's the theory. Yeah.
Okay. I'm sure they'll come up with
We
some
clean the
other.
Just
pen.
make sure you don't get the pens with the chains on it.
Well, the
Write that
question is the pencil, and you could throw them away.
Good.
You know,
Can we go to fire?
you want to go to my box with them pencils.
You
Right.
just go to a golf course
Yeah.
and say, hey, give me I want to buy a box of pencils from you.
I'm sorry I brought it up, it's not an agenda item,
All
we'll
right.
take care of it.
All right. Anything else? If not, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Opposed? 4-0.
7:25.
Thank you.